Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is Dr. J.N. Selzer, Pollster and president of Selzer Co. Dr. Selzer, thank you so much for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
There is a new Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll that shows the presidential race really narrowing since Vice President Kamala Harris replaced President Joe Biden at the top of the ticket. What are some of your takeaways from this poll?
Well, the first takeaway immediately is that there's a narrow lead for Donald Trump, and we would say narrow compared to what our poll said in June when he held an 18-point lead. So how do you go from an 18-point lead in the course of a couple of months to a 4-point lead? Well, many things have happened since our poll in June, including the debate that Donald Trump had with Joe Biden, which led to him dropping out as the nominee, which led to Kamala Harris ascending to that position. There was an assassination attempt. There were conventions. There is probably not in history a 2-month time that had so many things happen that could influence the outcome of a presidential election. So our first question is, okay, that's a lot of stuff that you put in the blender and mix it all up, and yet we come out with something that is a very clear narrowing, a shrinkage of the lead that Donald Trump had. I decided to try to answer the question of why. And there's really not a large set of people who are not decided, and we see evidence of that in our poll. So sometimes people want to say, well, this race is all about persuading people to change horses in the middle of the stream and go with the other candidate. I don't think this is that kind of race. I think it has to do with identifying people who might not normally vote and working on them to get them to vote, but also I think people in our poll that told us in June the type of person that they were just probably going to vote, might or might not vote, we're going to sit this one out, they don't make it into our likely voters screen. So we picked up fewer people who were likely voters in June than we did in September, when we had a bigger movement and more proportionately more people identifying as likely voters. And guess what? That's not consistent across all demographic groups. It is higher among women, among people under the age of 45, among people with a college degree or more education, and some other groups as well. But each of those is a strong indicator of a vote for Kamala Harris. So there are more of her supporters telling us they will definitely vote. And I think that's the difference.